Good morning, Muscatine. Oh.
Here we go. And action.
Hello, good morning. How is everyone this morning? I am out here in front of Hy Vee, just off Highway 61 here, freezing for food. So we are now officially on day 4. A couple days, the rest of today and tomorrow, we'll be out here freezing for food to help our county. So all of these donations stay local and will help feed the people in our county here. So the truck update, the truck looks pretty decent because of skinnies, I'm saying stinkies. Oh my gosh, Troy, I think you're super skinny and I feel like you should change the name apparently. But he made a huge donation of over 7,000 pounds of food yesterday, which just amazing, plus a cash donation, so very cool. That definitely helped take a little weight off our shoulders when we were looking into the truck, but I'm telling you that the need is greater than ever this year, and because of that, we want to make sure that by the end of this week that we have no room to even stand in there anymore. We have to stay outside of the trailer because there's so much food that we can take down immediately on Saturday morning down to the Salvation Army and start putting it into the pantry. So that's a very cool part about freezing for food, is it just directly goes into that pantry and just starts helping people. And that is a pretty cool thing to see and be a part of. So I am so grateful to all of the people who started 2 Weeks of Love 20 years ago now. 20 years of 2 Weeks of Love. So so grateful to the Kriegers right across the street here. They did Toy Time last week and have employees out here helping with freezing for food yet this week. The Riggins from Tantara Corp. Super grateful that they came, they rallied, they knew there was a need and decided 20 years ago that they would start this, and it just continues to grow, which is a good thing because the need continues to grow as well in a lot of ways, especially this year. So thank you to them for sponsoring and for making sure that 2 Weeks of Love happens every single year for our county. Also, I want to thank all the volunteers who have came out here and stood alongside of us to help take donations throughout the week so far. I must say though, we have a ways to go, and I'm hoping that today and tomorrow we'll get a lot of individual donations from people who have heard that we're out here freezing for food and will come drop off either. We have a kettle out here if you want to make a monetary donation, or you can bring non-perishable food items to make that donation and help fill the truck that we have here. So this morning I asked Charla to come and join me just to talk and give a little bit of information about, I mean, she's super knowledgeable about the community that we're in and where we stand as far as food insecurities and stuff. So I thought, what better person to have come talk about that than Charla. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me today.
Yes, so lots of good stuff happening at your office between the move and some new collaboration that's happening in the community, which I just love it when that happens.
Absolutely.
I love it.
You know, Discover Muscatine, you guys lead with collaboration, and the work that you're doing out here and the difference you're going to make for the families in our community. You guys, our community is grateful for the work you do. And as you said, when we collaborate and come together, amazing things happen. And I think that's what's so cool about Muscatine and Muscatine County.
Yeah.
So it's honestly, if I can really quick, it's a beautiful morning, and the truck needs a little bit of gifting. It's, you know what, it's a hard time for a lot of folks, and if we can just share a little bit right now, and every little bit's making a difference, and people are stopping, and whatever you can do to try to help. As you said, there's food insecurity was strong before COVID, And it has really complicated a lot of people's lives with COVID. So there's a greater need this year than a normal year even. And actually we were chatting, but Iowa State did a study pre-COVID, and 1 in 5 of our children were food insecure pre-COVID. So if you can imagine what those numbers look like now, and how the seniors are being impacted, and it's groups like Salvation Army and the pantries in our community and the schools that are trying to come together, and this is going to make a major difference to get people through the winter. So I'm thankful that you're out here and encouraging people to participate and be able to help their neighbors.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's huge to say, when you can really think about it and put it into perspective, that this food inside this trailer, the food that you are donating, is truly going to be helping a neighbor or a classmate of maybe your kid. And when you say the numbers, 1 in 5 kids are hungry, it's just like I don't know, more than anything, that I think affects my heart. It makes me just feel awful that they're even going through that. And 1 in 5 is huge, and like you said, that's before all
COVID.
Of this stuff happened.
And again, when they're trying to learn, and how do you fill your head when your belly's empty? And so it's important work like this. It's going to allow the children to reach their potential. But if we don't have this kind of activity going on, I just can't imagine how their day is and the stress the child and the parents are feeling. Because if the children are hungry, typically the parents are going hungry first.
Yes.
And the children are going hungry second. And so when you think about the dynamics of how that affects the family, and it's so difficult.
Yeah. And it's stories like the one that Greg told me yesterday about the young teenager that came to Salvation Army the other day and literally said, "Is there any way you can help me? I'm starving. I haven't eaten in days." And I have chills right now, and not even from the cold, but to think about that, and to think about him coming and asking for that help, and how hungry he had to have been by that point probably to come. And so if we as a community can come together, and I've been saying this all week this week and all week last week, there is no donation that's too small.
That's right.
Every single little bit matters. Imagine if everyone in our community donated $5.
Exactly.
How huge that would be. And I've said this too, but that's a frilly coffee or something that you could give up to donate, a lot of groceries,
right,
for a family. That's a couple meals.
And that's a good point. When you get those dollars flow in, then they can be utilized and expanded to get even more when they come into Salvation Army, and they can go ahead and then even have more purchasing power by some of the ways they reach out as well.
Yeah.
You talk about the smallest gifts. I was blessed. I worked at Muscatine Center for Social Action for a period of time, and I remember one of the most meaningful gifts we received was a man brought in $4, and there was no way he could afford to do that, but he wanted to give back and help. And I said that meant so much, that his spirit was so strong to help others when probably he needed help himself. But we had folks come in that were in tears because they couldn't feed their family, and they couldn't afford to eat. And the other issue we run into is sometimes we don't get to see those families because they don't have transportation to get to that Salvation Army, and so we've got to find ways to get food out. And I know that pantries in our community have really mobilized this year, especially, and are getting food out to the different folks that are in need. And but we've got the nonprofits working their tails off to get the food out, but we've still got to have the food coming in and the money coming in to be able to fit those needs. So it's been a really, really incredible year watching the nonprofits and Salvation Army shifting gears and figuring out how to get food to people that in a different way than they've gotten to them before. And so it's been heartwarming.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes me think about, midsummer, maybe at the beginning of summer, when we did the pandemic pantry.
Right.
Generally the food that we get for freezing for food really lasts, throughout the year for our local pantry. But we had to open up the truck again and try to ask for more assistance. So I can only imagine that that need is there. Obviously, they're serving more people than ever. Families who have never
have been in need.
Have never
Absolutely.
been in need financially, and who have had stable jobs, thankfully, but now have either been laid off or
different.
you know, or some people even let go at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot more families visiting our pantry, and I'm glad that they are.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that.
And you know, and that shows the true. I think that shows a community that you want to live in when you know that there's a place for you to go when you have those needs to
Yep.
be met, and it's illuminated when you have when these things are available to people, because in some communities they're not as giving, and I can't imagine what that's like.
Yeah.
I was going to say too, you know, in the summer when we had the first run on food, it wasn't cold out, and
Yep.
so now people's utilities costs are going up.
Yep.
And with that, it means they have even less dollars left for food. And so one of the things I think we sometimes overlook is this rising food insecurity is connected to lack of affordable housing. So as your housing expense gets beyond 30% of your dollars, then you start taking from needs like medical and food and so forth. And we saw families paying 80-90% of their income toward rent, and so there's nothing left. And so as we as a community continue to talk about affordable housing issues and how we can help with that, we also need to stop and think in the winter and these times, those utility costs going up further pushes on their budget. And as you said, we've had people that are experiencing layoffs and separation of positions that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So their families are, you know, in immediate need.
Yeah. I think I say this a lot, but truthfully, if you are watching and you have a need, please make sure that you make that need known to people.
Absolutely.
Because there are people, I mean, our community is amazing, and there are people who want to help, who it's their passion to help others. And so we have those folks in our community, and I hope that
Don't be
nobody
shy. Don't
gets,
be shy.
Yes,
That's right.
nobody is starving, that they're coming before it gets to that point. And it's, you know, maybe right now it's just a hard time.
Right.
But in the future, you can help again, and you can be on the other side of it.
Absolutely.
It's
You
a
can give
cycle,
back.
and yep, exactly. I mean, I've been in positions in my life when I was going through cancer and stuff, and you know, wasn't working, and it changed everything for us. And that was the time when it was like, okay, well, I need a little bit of help right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a hard thing kind of to swallow at first. I was used to being the one out here like, come on, like, let's give to everybody else. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that everybody has a time when they are in need of just a little bit of help, a little bit of love. And so I want to encourage people who are able to
Right.
give. I want to encourage people who need a little help right now to ask.
Absolutely.
And this truck has a lot of room to go. We have a couple days, like we have the rest of today, and we have tomorrow for donations to roll in, and then, you know, Saturday morning this truck is going to leave here and go directly down to the food pantry and be unloaded, and immediately is going to start being used
Helping.
to feed hungry people in our community.
You know, and I think when we talk about like our children right now, our children have had a lot of anxiety this year, and when as parents that can give, or grandparents that can give, to engage the children in that so they can see that they're helping someone else.
Yep.
I think this year, even more, that's probably just going to be meaningful for the child to get that chance, because it's been an anxious year for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And to know that you're helping someone else and helping your classmate, and now you're kind of disconnected from your classmates, so to know, even though they may be on Zoom, that you're still helping.
Yep.
I think it's just a great opportunity to help with benevolence in the family, to take those opportunities. So
Yep.
if you know, with your grandchildren or your children, if they can come out, and I think you've got bags of food, is that correct? That they can
Yep.
so they physically could bring a
Yep.
bag of food.
Yes. So at Hy Vee, they have these bags, and it's super easy. So I know people are being careful. Some people don't even, you know, visit the stores. They're ordering online.
Right.
These can be ordered online. So these were packaged by Hy Vee employees specifically for the needs that were asked from the pantries. So the stuff that's inside these bags, there's even hand sanitizer, like cleansing wipes, inside here too for people who need that extra cleaning.
Right.
I mean, right now. So there's stuff that pantries have asked for and need, so you don't have to guess, what to buy. It's $20, and they're right inside the door, so you can, like you said, bring your family out, grab a bag or two or whatever, and you check out, or you can add it to your aisles online.
Yeah.
The other day, when you said that, it immediately made me think of my daughter. I've been talking a lot about this competition that we're having between the sheriff's department. I'm with my buddy Jake. We happen to have birthdays in December, and
clearly you're going to win.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I've been talking a lot about that at home too, and so I was there one night at my computer, like posting stuff on social media, and Han's like, "What are you doing?" My daughter, she's 9. She's like, "What are you doing, Mom?" I'm like, "Well, I'm trying to get the word out because I have about $25 to go until I hit like this certain amount, and I was hoping to get that before I went to bed that night, and that was my goal." And she's like, "Oh," she's like, "Well, what's it for?" And so we went through that, and I explained to her, this money is going to be used for programs like that they have at the Salvation Army. It's going to be used for food for our friends in the community that need help, all those things. And she walked away, after that conversation, and came back a couple minutes later and handed me $5.
Oh.
And she said, "I have this that she helps a friend of mine down at the kennel," and
gosh.
So I'm like, "Oh, thank you. I'm doing something right,"
Well, and she felt like she had a little control to be able to help somebody. I mean, think about that right now, how important that was.
Yeah, and we talked. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Hanley, this is amazing. And do you know what this could buy at the store?" And so we talked about that, and she's like, "Wow, like instead of wasting it, she would have totally. The next time we were at the store, she would have had to spend that $5 on something. But to choose, make that choice, and see the need, and it's important that we involve our kiddos, like you said, and our families.
Teaching,
and
giving, absolutely.
Yep, because it affects them, and it has been a tough year. We imagine how it's been on us as adults, and their little minds not really being able to wrap around what's really going on, and just taking in all of the information from all different sources and not being able to really sort it out is huge. And so it's amazing to be able to do that. And I'm telling you, she loves coming out here, shopping for the food and bringing stuff. We normally do it on Friday of Freezing for Food Week, and she really enjoys picking out stuff for kids her age.
That she knows they're going to enjoy.
Yep, exactly. And so it is fun, and I encourage you guys to do that. If you're an online shopper, sit down with your kiddo and say, "Hey, what items do you think we should throw in here for the food pantry?" There's a lot of ways around that.
I think that would be a really fun opportunity for the child.
Yep, yeah, and we have to keep that giving heart in our community, and keep teaching our kiddos so that someday when we're not here, they're continuing on freezing for food. They're continuing on those passions because the need's there, and I keep rambling because I just want everybody to know how important it is.
It is, and honestly, you've got a couple days left. So I mean, now the time is now to be. If you've got an interest, the time is now. Today and tomorrow, and then tomorrow at what time does it close?
So tomorrow at 5. Well, 5:30, depending on how busy we are. But we'll close the doors, and they'll come on Saturday early in the morning and pick up the truck, and we'll take it down and unload. So
it's just a wonderful way to head into the Christmas season, to be in the next couple days be giving like that.
Yep,
so
absolutely. We're still accepting. I know some people missed out on Toy Time last week and have reached out and said, "Oh, I didn't make it out there. Where can I take this?" You can still bring toys, unwrapped new toys, and we can take those for the toy shop. And obviously food or monetary donations.
On the toys, is there specific ages that maybe it was a little lighter for giving this year?
Generally, the teenagers, that teen kind of age is where we have to fill a lot of gaps. So people have been doing, and I think this is a cool idea, like gift cards, stuff like that for teenagers. But it's amazing the things that are on these teenagers lists, or even the kids, things like bedding. you know, or some new clothes. You know, it's not items that you would expect to see on a teenager or a kid's list. So, you know, if you bought some cool sweatshirts or, you know, a Hawkeye sweatshirt, you know, something like that.
Something new.
Yep, something new. They would be over the moon. And I love the hashtag that they're using this year, Rescue Christmas, for that. Because it's true. Both freezing for food and the toy time is truly to rescue Christmas for people, whether it be through food or whether it be through having a few gifts under the tree that morning. Like you said, this has been a tough year, and let's end it right for people in our community.
No, it's the temperature today. There's no reason if somebody wants to get out, so they can't come out and see you. Yeah,
and it's easy, you guys. I'm telling you, we are out in front of Hy Vee. You can't miss us. You'll see the big giant red kettle, the big giant semi here, but if you come out and see us, you can literally pull up in your vehicle if you already have the items, and we will get the items out for you. We have volunteers. We are out here waiting for people to pull up. You don't even have to get out of your car. It's literally like a drive-through. We'll grab the stuff and take it in the trailer. If you have a donation, the kettle's right here. We'll get that from you out the window. If you haven't gotten anything yet and you need to run inside Hy Vee, please do so. Run inside. The bags are right inside the door. Just a $20 bill and you're out the door. Plus, Matt added, if you're a fuel saver person like me, 10 cents per bag, so you can stack them. So if you buy 3 bags, you get 30 cents. It's pretty cool. So you get a little benefit for buying
Matt's a good guy.
I love Matt so much.
You know, you were talking though before, I was just going to say the affordable housing, I think just so we can have a really kind of good perspective of what we're talking about this year. Prior to COVID, the housing study that came out showed we were 1,000 units short of affordable housing for people making less than $25,000 a year in our community. So you think about that, 1,000 households.
Wow.
Many of those may be seniors, but at that point, that was the affordable housing issue at that price range.
Yeah.
Now think what that looks like. I mean, we're talking just sheer numbers of people that are in need, and now that number has grown even further. So I think when we start to think about, you know, how big a concern or opportunity is it's a big opportunity to make a difference. And so I think we're going to affect a lot of families within our community and make them reduce their stress, increase their nutrition, and help them have a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday through this. So that would be very bleak without.
Let's end the year off right. Let's end freezing for food off right. Let's fill this truck, and like I said, by the end of tomorrow, I would love it if I couldn't even walk through the trailer because there's so many donations. We've had businesses come out. Troy, he come out with his team and made a giant donation yesterday, which really put a dent in the space, but there is still so much space left. We need those individuals, the people like you and I, to start making those donations.
And I think we should be, you watch some of the businesses that have come out and gifted to, and they're the same businesses that have been impacted by COVID. So I think on the other side of that, we have to remember that we need to be taking care of our local businesses because times are a little tough for them and they're still finding a way to dig into their pockets and give back to our community. So, you know, it's okay to order and pick up food and think about our businesses that are struggling a little bit as well because they aren't changing their generous heart. I mean, they're still trying just the same. So we can be generous as well when we think about how do we support local, because sometimes it's pretty easy to jump on and order from Amazon when we might be able to buy it right here in our community. And you know, how do we think about that a little bit differently too?
I mean, if I think back to even just yesterday, the businesses that showed up, you know, the Armstrong family came out. They made a generous donation as well as a donation of their time. They were here for several hours to help us unload for other people. Brad at Avenue Subs was out here for a while and also made a donation, and he gave me brownies at the end. So he's a winner in my book.
The Kistners are good folks.
They are. You know, the hospital's been out and had people And gosh, more
Think
than
of
ever, the hospital.
That's what I
is
was going to
just-
say. Think about the hospital when they're exhausted and how they've given and still are finding a way
Yep.
to dig deep.
Yep. So, I mean, there's just a lot. There's too many to name, but I like what you said. You know, let's support each other. We're one big happy family. It's a community, and we can all do a little bit. You know,
Absolutely.
find whatever way it is that you can help. And maybe this year you're struggling, but you still want to help. They're looking for bell ringers for the Salvation Army. You just go to registertoring.com and you can register for a place in Muscatine to ring the bell for a couple hours. You can come out here and help us unload for other people. And there's a lot of ways that you can help, whether it be with money or your time.
Or reach out to one of the pantries and
Oh,
see if
gosh,
they could,
yes.
if you could drop food off,
Yep.
because they've got drivers that are, and they've set up COVID measurements so that it's a very safe opportunity again, where it's being dropped off at the door. They're calling to let them know it's there, or alerting them so that you don't. Again, if we're concerned about, which we all should be, making sure that we keep our space and follow the safety measures, that's all built into the volunteering opportunities as well.
Yep. Well, I mean, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for having me out. But I so appreciate the work that Discover Muscatine's doing around this.
Thank you.
And the difference it's going to make. So if there's ways that we can help, you please reach out. Okay?
Thank you.
bet.
Same goes to you always. So just to kind of wrap things up for the show today, I know I've been focusing a lot on freezing for food this week, but it's such an important cause. It's such a huge need right now for our community that it just doesn't feel right talking about anything else, really. And all of the guests who have came out this week to be on the show have been more than happy to spend their time out here, being a little bit of chilly with me. Today's not so bad.
No,
the sun feels good.
I might have overdressed a little bit. This is good news.
But it's important. I'm going to keep updating you. I'm going to keep maybe bugging you, I don't know, and talking about it, because it's important that we talk about it and that people know what the needs are.
And I think you said this earlier, but the 2020 has been a tough year, and how do we take something good out of it? And this is a way to have good come from that, right? And so I think it's, how do we reframe that for ourselves and say, there's a lot of good things that are happening in 2020, and this is one of them, and they can participate.
You guys can participate today. Stop through. We will be out here freezing for food. We got Krieger's people out here. We got volunteers out the yin yang just waiting. They were just waiting for you to pull up so they can unload your car with your donation. And we appreciate you. If you've donated already, thank you so much. It means more than you probably even realize. And we will be here. We are excited, and we just hope we can fill the truck by the end of the week. So
Absolutely.
I do have to take a minute to, the show's been looking different this week, like I said, so I need to thank our sponsors, because without the sponsors of our show, we wouldn't be able to bring this news to you, or all of the great organizations that have a platform because of the show to talk about what they're doing. So obviously Hy Vee, I love Hy Vee and the whole crew. They not only give up space for us to have the show, but also are just always willing to help make sure it happens. I want to say thank you to Toyota Muscatine for sponsoring the show. Lutheran Living is a sponsor as well, and CBI also sponsors, and they brought out a big donation too. So I am grateful to all of our sponsors that let me have this show and give me the platform to invite people on like you to talk about this. So thank you so much. But we will be coming live to you a little bit later as well to update you on the status. But I hope you guys will stop out and I can see you later on today. Maybe it's on your lunch break or right after work. But I would appreciate seeing you. And I want you to all remember, until I talk to you again, that kindness is free. So spread that stuff wherever you go.